There are two main things that men struggle with in today's world: anger and lust. And today I want to talk about lust and what I wish somebody would have told me years and years ago when I was in the midst of addiction. What I wish somebody would have told me years ago was that this isn't your fault. Like, the fact that you're addicted to porn isn't your fault. And I can say that with confidence now to anyone who's struggling out there with addiction, that it's not your fault, right? Because what is addiction? We have to really understand that. We have to understand why we use the term addiction. Addiction is when we have a compulsive behavior that we're using or that we're doing that we don't want to do, right? Like we don't want porn in our lives. So many guys out there struggle with that, or struggle with sexual addiction or addiction to masturbation in some sort of form. And the big thing here, it's not just semantics, but it's something that's really important to understand, is that it's not your fault. This is not something that you want. You do not want this compulsive behavior. Why do we know that we can say this with confidence? And why do I wish a younger Nick would have heard this so many years ago? Is because when we get to the heart of it, when we get to the root of what's actually causing this compulsive behavior, that's when we start to find freedom. But unfortunately, so many times we start to believe this lie, this narrative that this is my fault, that if I was just better as a human being, if I was just a better man, then I would actually be over this. And that's so far from true. So far from true. Right? Like, it's not because you are a broken man or because you aren't good enough that you're addicted to porn or that you're addicted to some other sort of sexual behavior. So if we just slow things down and really try to understand addiction for what it is, like, why do I struggle with this compulsive behavior that I don't want? It starts to make sense, and we turn from beating ourselves up to really working towards a solution, to actually like letting ourselves make the progress that we need to make to overcome that, and not just overcome that, but also like heal and become more the man God's made us to be. It's all part of this journey. And I think that's something that, if I could offer guys who are listening, like, it's a process, not an event. And so many times we get in that loop where we think it's an event, we think we've conquered it, we think we've grasped it, but then we fall again and we go right back to square one. We're beating ourselves up. I'm not good enough, this is my fault. And again, not the truth. Go back to the origins. Why does this addiction really exist? Why are we compulsively choosing this? Because we're coping with something. There's something deeper here, some deeper pain point that we decided at some point in our journeys that I rather turn towards this thing to make me feel good for a little bit. And why does it feel good? Like, there's a bit of theology of the body in there. Like, yeah, God created sex and he created it good. Right? There is something good about sex. I mean, it is good, but can it be used in distorted ways? Absolutely. Just like any good. Going back to that alcohol example, it's like, yeah, like, we can abuse this good, the thing that God's created us, to then check out of reality. And that's simply what porn is. It's not your fault that you're addicted. You were never supposed to know how to navigate life. And here, for whatever reason, you were introduced at a young age to something that helped you, quote unquote, solve your problems, at least make you fare temporarily good. And now you're in a place where that's become a compulsive behavior. The great thing is, like, we know that that's a learned behavior, and we know that we can unlearn things. And what I want to invite guys to do, and who are listening to this now, is to sign up for my workshop on May 22nd, coming up here in 2025. If you're listening to this after the fact, still go and click on that link and you can watch the replay. Or even if you can't make it to the workshop on time, live, like, still sign up because you can watch the replay. What I'm going to do in that workshop is take what I'm saying here, but break it out over the course of an hour and talk about some of the biggest lies we tell ourselves in this battle, give you a 3-step process to how you can actually start making progress. And then, like, what's next steps? How do I actually, like, take what I've learned in this workshop and apply it to my life so I can start living like the free man God's created me to be. And I really want to invite you guys to go and check that out, sign up for it, and start like making those steps to being free. This isn't your fault. You can unlearn this behavior, and all takes is one step to start going that direction of how can I start to become moment by moment the man God's created me to be. This is why I became a mentor, because I want men to be free from addiction. I offer these workshops, this YouTube video, all for free because I know what it was like to be addicted. I know that was part of my journey, a part of my past. And now I want to help men like get over that hill themselves. And so if you're struggling, you've been struggling for years or a few months, whatever it is, if you want to stop trying harder, stop blaming yourself and start looking deeper to the real root of this problem, then join us on May 22nd. I promise you won't regret that decision to join us and to learn more about this and to like really take this problem seriously so that way you can stop hiding in the shame and darkness, start living in the light, becoming who it is that God's created you to be. Look forward to joining you guys then. God bless. There are two main things that men struggle with in today's world: anger and lust. And today I want to talk about lust and what I wish somebody would have told me years and years ago when I was in the midst of addiction. What I wish somebody would have told me years ago was that this isn't your fault. Like the fact that you're addicted to porn isn't your fault. And I can say that with confidence now to anyone who's struggling out there with addiction, that it's not your fault, right? Because what is addiction? We have to really understand that. We have to understand why we use the term addiction. Addiction is when we have a compulsive behavior